Hey, what's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the first video in a new series I'm calling Functional Fridays. Each and every single Friday, I'm going to be going over a new movement that's a part of the 7 foundational movements of exercise. This is to help you guys exercise more efficiently and to know what you're doing while you're in the gym. So in each episode, we'll cover a variety of topics. We're going to first and foremost start off by talking about what that foundational movement is. We're going to talk about what muscle groups are involved in that foundational movement. We'll go over the exercise of choice for that day. We'll also talk about alternatives for the exercise, so that way, if you know that the exercise is one that you're maybe not able to do very well, there's other ways that you can still get a lot out of it that'll be very similar. And last but not least, we'll talk about science and how it can be used to benefit and apply to each one of these exercises. So let's waste no time and get right into today's topic. Our first movement we're talking about is the pull-up. But before we deep dive and get into the pull-up, let's briefly go over vertical pulling and then circle back to why the pull-up is one of the best movements to achieve the vertical pulling motion. Vertical pulling involves raising your arm above your body and creating a straight line basically from your fingertips all the way down to your hip crease. And it finishes with you bringing your elbow closer to your torso. The pull-up is a great form of a vertical pull because it forces you to engage a lot of muscle groups involved in the pulling motion to a very high level. In particular, it puts a lot of stress on your lats, which are more of the side back muscles, so to say, aka the wings of the back. And if your goal is to build a pretty solid, balanced physique, having developed lats is essential. So the muscles that are involved in the vertical pulling motion are going to first and foremost include the latissimus dorsi, aka the lats, what we just talked about. You also have the trapezius muscle, the rhomboids, the rear delts, the bicep brachii, and to a lesser extent, some smaller muscle groups like the scalene muscles, the rotator cuffs, and even your abdominals. The setup for the pull-up is pretty simple. You're going to first and foremost focus on grabbing the bar, and you're going to make sure that you extend your body so that your shoulders are hugging the bottoms of your ears. This is more of a relaxed feeling at the bottom of each rep. As you begin the pulling motion, you're going to think about tucking your elbows in towards your pants pockets and driving your chest up towards the bar. The goal is to get your chin above the bar, but you want to focus on driving your chest towards the bar so that you get a pretty decent activation of your lats. Now, there's a decent amount of people that when they perform a movement like the pull-up, they feel as if they don't have that great of a mind-muscle connection with their lats. Now, based upon the most recent research, there seems to be a decent amount of support towards a mind-muscle connection by focusing on internal cues, but then there's also a lot of support towards external connections where you're more so focusing on external factors in order to complete the movement. So for example, in the pull-up, if you think about directing your elbows towards the floor and then driving your chest towards the bar, those are more external cues rather than feeling your lats engage. When you focus on some of these external cues, they can help you to, in turn, over time, develop more of these internal cues. In my opinion, I would say the internal cues, aka a deep mind-muscle connection, is important, but if you're just starting out, I wouldn't worry about it so much. If you focus on those external cues, hopefully over time, you'll be able to develop better internal cues. So thus far, we've talked about the concentric portion or the upward portion of a pull-up. In the last few years, there's been a lot of research backing the eccentric portion of a lift being very great for helping to develop the muscle group over time. My recommendation would be to take about 2 to 3 seconds on the way down so that way you're slow and controlled and you can really engage your lats. So taking the movement with a nice controlled descent should enable you to feel a greater connection as you focus on more of those external cues, and like I said, eventually can help build your internal cues. Now, if you don't feel that comfortable and you're not actually able to complete a pull-up, there are a few alternatives. One of the first and most notable alternatives is going to be the lat pull down. Again, your starting position is going to be very similar to that of your pull-up. Your arms are raised above your head. You're focusing on making sure that as you pull down, your elbows are directed towards your pants pockets. It's essentially the exact same movement, except for now you're in the seated position. And the benefit to the lat pull down is that you don't have to bear the total weight of your body weight. You can scale this. You can start off a lot lighter and develop your strength with the lat pull down over time. And as you probably have guessed, the lat pull down is a great way to transition into being able to later perform a pull-up. Other movements outside of the lat pull down include movements like the lat prayer, but with this movement, to be a little more specific, you're starting at about a 45-degree angle in relation to the ground. From here, you're going to focus on keeping your arms straight as you pull them down towards your sides. Notice that your elbows are still coming in towards your torso, it's just that you're not bending at the elbow with this movement. This is why it's still considered a vertical pull, even though the angle is slightly off. Besides switching the movement completely to one of these two alternatives, you also have the assisted pull-up. So in a variety of gyms, they actually have a weight stack that'll be located next to a pull-up station where you can either place your knees onto the assisted pad or sometimes it's your feet. But essentially, this piece of equipment acts as a counterbalance that allows you to take off a little bit of your body weight as you do the pull-up. And to be quite honest, this is probably one of the greatest movements you can do to be able to achieve a true pull-up without any assistance. This is because you're practicing the movement in the exact same way that you would actually perform it. The only difference is that the load that you're using is a little bit lighter. As far as rep schemes go for the pull-up, there's a wide variety that you can do. If you train the pull-up in a 1 to 5 rep range, you can really focus in on developing your strength. If you care more about growing the muscles of the back, somewhere between a 6 to 12 rep range would probably be ideal for most people. And if you have goals and aspirations of increasing the endurance of your lat muscles, going above that 12 reps, probably all the way up to about 20 reps, is pretty decent too. The commonality between training for both strength and size with the pull-up is going to involve you training close to failure pretty often. This isn't necessarily a movement where you just want to go through the motion and not necessarily feel like you're fatiguing at the end of it. Final takeaways, again, the pull-up is just one of many vertical pulling movements. As I mentioned, you could also complete movements like the lat pull down or the lat prayer, but with all the muscle groups and the level of difficulty that are applied in a pull-up, I would say it's probably one of the best movements that you can do for the vertical pulling motion. That's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Stay tuned next Friday. We're going to be going over another movement. And yeah, I really enjoy this type of format and it's great to be back with you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.